cyclocross fans, and welcome back to BehindTheBarriers.tv. This is your weekend preview. We're talking about one big event this weekend, part of the USA Cycling Pro CX calendar, and that is New York's Supercross Cup event. This race, an awesome race, a great history here, always been a favorite among New England and Mid-Atlantic riders. For a while there, it was part of the National Trophy Series, and this year it is going to be very good as well. New course this year, we'll get to that in a second. First up, the weather. It is finally winter. We are in New England. It is cold. It is frigid. I even saw a little bit of snow a couple days ago, maybe not for this weekend, but on Friday, we're looking at about a 50% chance of rain, so that could make things a little interesting come the weekend. We're going to have freezing temperatures overnight, so Saturday, pretty warm day actually, highs in the high 40s, although freezing overnight with that rain, you could get a little bit of frozen ground and thawing throughout the day. The amateurs hit the course in the morning, could just grease things up just enough to make it tricky for the pro race later in the day. On Sunday, bring your warm gloves, bring your leg warmers, just bring everything you got because it's going to be freezing. Highs right around freezing, 31, 32 degrees, depending on what happens to that course on Saturday. You could be looking at frozen ruts, you could be looking at hard packed and fast, it could be anything. This is finally cross weather. We're getting down to the good stuff here, end of November, early December. Now, about the course. A totally new venue this year for this event, a long time in Southampton, Long Island, a great course there at the school. The race promoter at this one, he knows how to put on a good cross race. He knows what makes a good course. He did it for years there. Last year, unfortunately, this event, it didn't happen. They had moved to a new park, but that park ended up falling right at the time of Hurricane Sandy, and I believe that park was used for some sort of staging efforts, or staging for the relief efforts. So unfortunately, we missed it. But this year, we are back. A brand new course. I personally don't know that much about it. I mean, neither will any of you because you haven't raced there before. But putting my trust in Miles Romano, the race promoter there, knowing that he knows what it takes to put on a good race, I expect it to be a very good course. I'm as excited as you guys to see what happens out there. The start list. Some interesting dynamics going on this weekend with the start list. At the top, we have some very strong riders, especially on that men's side. Some of your top 5 ranked riders are there. Tim Johnson will be in the house. Ben Bearden will be on the start line. Now, Ryan Trebone not there, Jeremy Powers not there, Jamie Driscoll, and so on. A lot of the top riders, they've been at it now for 3, 4, 5 weeks in a row. So, Ben Bearden, why is he going to this race? He's been racing, he raced 3 days last weekend, 2 the before, 3 before that. It's very simple. It's a $40,000 prize purse this year for the USA Cycling Pro CX calendar. I think it's $5,000 to the overall winner. And the more you race, the more points you get, the better he's looking in that series. So a guy like Ben, even a guy like Tim who's coming onto some strong form now, they know that if they just go to the races that Powers is at, it's probably not going to happen. Powers has so many C1 points already in the bank, triple points for winning a C1. So those guys like Ben, he was in St. Louis. Guys, he was thinking about going to Rochester, didn't go, but they're going to these races trying to get as many points as they can to bump themselves up in that series. I think if Ben takes 2 wins or even a win and a second place, that would elevate him to the top spot in that standing. Same thing goes for Tim Johnson. He's a little farther behind right now, but 2 solid wins there, which is going to be tough going up head-to-head against the Belgian, but still. Second place, almost a guarantee for a guy like Tim if he can hold it together. It's going to be some very valuable points at this race with other guys not in attendance. So those are your favorites on the men's side. On the women's side, I'm going to be looking at 2, maybe 3 riders there. Laura Van Gilder, pretty much unstoppable in the Northeast when it comes to races like this, especially if it's going to be fast and dry. We got Arlie Kemmerer coming up from the Mid-Atlantic as well, coming off some really strong results over at the World Cup just a couple of weeks ago. So she brings some good form in. Then we got riders like Amanda Carey. I believe we got some of the top riders from New England going down there. It's one of those races. It's kind of local. There's so many strong riders within this region, within a 6-hour drive, that you're going to get a lot of people sort of unsuspected that just sort of show up. Behind that, we're looking at a very strong field of B and C level riders. You got guys like Anthony Clark, who have been very strong all year. This is the kind of race where those guys make the podium. Speaking of which, let's get right to it now. Your SRAM key to the race. We've had all sorts of weird keys to the race this year. This weekend is no exception. The key to the race is going to be showing up. I mean, we already talked about it. For guys like Ben, for guys like Tim, the key is to show up and get those points. But more importantly than Ben and Tim, I mean, yeah, they're going for that overall series. I'm looking at guys like Jerome Townsend, guys like Cameron Dodge. This is one of those races where if you're a regular 15 to 20 guy, this is your chance. This is your chance to get inside the top 5, a top 10. It's a UCI C2 event, so points go 10 deep. We talk about points all the time and how much they matter. Well, this is the kind of race that you get one of those guys, a Nick Keough or just any one of those riders who can get maybe their only 2 races of the year where they're going to get 5th, 6th, and 7th, get some big points. That's the difference between next season being on the 2nd row for every start they do and being on the 5th row for every start they do. So crucial to be there. It's one of those races, like we said, everyone's been doing these big, fancy glitz races with Jingle Cross and with Louisville, and everyone was there. Everyone now wants to take a weekend off, but you got to get up, you got to get your butt to New York, and you got to go get some points. It's going to be a good one, guys. Go ahead, check down below this video if you're watching this on our website, behindthebarriers.tv. If you're not, come on. Just come on over. It's good stuff over here, guys. We have down below, we got weather reports. We're going to have an updated start sheet for you. We're going to have the tweets, the Facebooks, all the good stuffs. Check out the other shows this week. How the Race Was Won yesterday. It's probably my favorite show, guys. We might just change this to Cosmo TV. That show is freaking awesome. Check it out. Who's Number One? The Presents episode was very good this week. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week.